idea I was trying to get, the way I'm trying to start it now, starting from scratch. Right, I'll take you to there after you read through this.
Mhm. When Aristotle balked his examination of the theories of the predecessor, the natural philosophers, he pursued a wide range of possibilities. Thales' approach was sufficiently outstanding and original for Aristotle to claim Thales as the first natural philosopher. Aristotle was much involved in the study of
Did
science
you
and
read
in the
Did you read the
history.
stuff about the unifying principle?
No.
It was right above this. Remember, it was right above what you're reading now. Yeah.
Unifying
You were
principle.
reading this. Remember, it was like my previous like introduction where I was starting to talk about like your questions, or you know what I mean? Like that's what you're reading. It's right above this. Right above where you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
This is where you were, right? It was like
What
right
side
around
am I on?
here. Like the your questions like thing, you know?
Your question.
Right there. There it is. This is what you were reading. This is basically how I wanted to start it at first, like how I was first groping around like how I was going to start it, right? And that paragraph you were highlighting is basically like taking that paragraph right there is like I wanted to really like motivate it and concretize it and like really flesh it out, and that's how I wanted to start it, really, right? That paragraph. So that's how I decided to like that's the move I decided to make, you know.
Right. This
So
is
that's where we were. So, and then you read when what many philosophy departments have been pissing off, and you read that. You read that too, right?
Mhm.
You didn't even know that it was right there. You just controlled F for positivism. It was right there.
Oh. I've been passing off to the students as the name of philosophy is really, yeah, anti-philosophy dressed up as a philosophy. Um, BM was kept alive, and it's just true. Yeah, I mean, I'm. Oh my gosh, I'm reminded so much of like the kind of like thing that
I
like Ayn Rand was trying to concretize in The
Yeah, it's
Fountain
so
Head.
good, right? It's so good. That's why I wanted to
It's
start
like,
like the, you know.
yeah,
That's why I dropped
it's like
everything in the
if
organism
you,
environment system note. You know, all that stuff that we went over in the organism environment system note. That's what I
Mhm.
started with, and then I was like, I just like I want to just have like a very different beginning, you know, to motivate everything, you know.
Mhm.
So I started from scratch, like this. This is how I started from scratch.
Yeah, and I think yeah, and I think it's something that Rand was trying to concretize as well. Is like you have all of these people in this fucking society who just hate people who are innovating or
Mm.
being different and trying new things. And it's like a society cannot, like, the world cannot fucking continue if you are not making new things. So, how the fuck do you even, you know, begin to have science if science is all about, discovering new things, new possibilities, and all
Yeah,
this.
and
And
like I'll tie it all in like social metaphysics. I'll tie it in with like you know, statism and like you know the economics of like uh basically interventionism in science, right? And like you know the like allocation of scientific resources, right? The distortions and all that. Like I'll incorporate that. Like I'll talk a little bit about that. Like now, I was like on my list. Like I'm gonna read Tibor Machen's book about that.
Also, what is because I was googling this. What is natural philosophy? Is it like
Well, that's
um
when we get into the Thales paragraphs, it explains it.
okay. Positivism, which was already recognized as a threat to philosophy in the 19th century, had triumphed in its goal. That is, for philosophical reflection to be regarded as an academic parlor game, irrelevant to everything and, for the most part, of no interest, except to other philosophers who have not yet retired or been entrenched, or retrenched. Although philosophy is irrelevant, is of course a philosophical claim. Ultimately, the project was one based on a particular philosophy that involves eliminating all alternatives, a philosophy hostile to questioning of its own assumptions and thereby hostile to philosophy. While many philosophers have supported this project and in the process have worked to undermine and eliminate any questioning of the dominant philosophy, great philosophers since the 18th century have uh, resolutely opposed it. In the past, there were good reasons for this, and there are more reasons now. Apart from the incoherencies, intellectual poverty, and ultimately nihilism of this whole tradition of thought, the triumph of mechanistic materialism, instrumentalism, and positivism led to the tyrannies of the 20th century. The success of positivism involves the disempowerment of people and their acceptance of this disempowerment as more and more decision making is placed in the hands of the core intellectuals, which are no different.
Rothbard. That's a term from, I mean, Rothbard, court intellectuals.
Core intellectuals, that's funny. Yeah. Which are no different than any other mystic authority, a claim to have some unexplained access to some privileged source of truth and knowledge, such that your means of knowing reality is deemed impotent, that you cannot know true reality, and so you must accept your impotence and become dependent on this mystic authority.
And you can see how that ties perfectly into social metaphysics. You don't gotta. These paragraphs are notes. All this stuff is notes.
This is important. At the same time, they are impoverishing the philosophy through the situation could be understood. Through the situation could be understood.
Through which yeah, at the same time, they're impoverishing the philosophy through which this situation could be understood and opposed. And this is a note that I got from Gare again. I think it was from Gare. The logical positives, or maybe it was from Rothbard. No, I think it was from Gare. The
Oh,
main goal of the logical positivists has been to define what is genuine science and taking their model from physics. Da-da-da. Yeah, that's a quote from Gare, I think.
this book focuses on science in the making as well as its
But it
various
also talks. It basically
applications.
talks about a basic argument against a logical positivism, which is a very like I highlight it.
Cannot be defined by logic, therefore cannot be defined. However, what really eliminated the logical part would be taken seriously as a philosophy of science was that historians of science were able to show that the logical positive characteristic of what science is and how it develops does not accord with real science. What they showed was that far from science being opposed to metaphysics, as Pierce argued, science is always based on metaphysics, either unexamined or critically examined. Find a scientific man who proposes to get along without metaphysics, Pierce wrote, and you have and you have found one whose doctrines are thoroughly vitiated by the crude and uncriticized metaphysics with which they are packed.
Vitiated. So basically, it's always based on metaphysics, either unexamined or critically examined, right? And the goal of the
Right, we
positive
have to
is
make
just
some metaphysical commitment in order to really, because I
yeah,
mean,
and the goal
science
of the
is an
positivist is
epistemological
just
thing.
to leave it unexamined, right?
Yeah. I mean, science is mostly an epistemological thing. And what does epistemology rely on? Well, it relies on some sort of metaphysics. And so you need
Mhm.
to have some sort of metaphysical assumption in order to know anything.
Well, Wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say you need some metaphysical assumption in order to know anything. I definitely wouldn't fucking say that.
Well, you need some sort of metaphysics.
Right. I mean, it's just metaphysics. It runs through everything. It's just like
And I think furthermore, um, in Intro to Ego Psych, it's, I mean, it's funny because Julia and uh, Jeff, they they just completely gloss over Descartes because they're like, this fucking Descartes guy, he's just like, oh, reality isn't real. And it's like, well, who gives a fuck, right? We're talking about science here, right? We have to assume that it's real. Like,
right. Yeah. But but that's not the argument. The argument was the first sentence. I mean, not the first sentence highlight. The first sentence of this large highlight at the bottom here.
it was pointed out that logical positivism was largely incoherent because its foundational assumption that only verified observational statements, while deductions have any claim of providing knowledge, cannot be verified either observationally or by logical deduction, and therefore can't. Yeah, yeah. I don't remember.
There's this,
I
and
don't
this is
remember where.
I
I
got
actually
something
want to compare this.
from Rand here.
Uh, I actually want to compare this to because I know Zulu gives like a refutation of it in his thing. This is a brain. I don't want to do that. Yeah. Where the fuck is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. So I want to look because I know he has an argument against positivism. I just want to look at it. I think it's here. It's in the first one. Is it fucking
No,
breaking?
it's the nature of law. You're talking about legal positivism. It's different.
Well, yeah, he also goes
Logical
over
positivism.
logical positivism as a.
I don't think he does.
It definitely does. I remember.
But when he wrote that, he was speaking as a rationalist. He was a rationalist then.
Well, yeah.
Well, like he's still a rationalist, but I mean, like he was like explicitly
Well,
a
I
rationalist. Like
heard
he was like,
because I
I'm a
heard he does edit
rationalist.
it. I heard he does edit it.
No, no, no. I don't
He's
think so.
never edited it. I think
Not the
he
first
has because
one.
I got access to his
Not
video
not the first one. I
on.
don't think he edited the first one.
No, okay. I don't know why his website's not fucking working. In shit.
But anyways, fuck all that, right? There's just, I mean,
I
I
mean,
think I
it's
made
probably
the
a better argument than whatever he gave.
right. I think I basically restated this in a different way, like in a better way. Like I basically just like I don't know. You can search like the key terms of that state, like if you want to. You don't have to do that, right? Forget that. It's just an argument there. It's a good argument, and so
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah, this
good. And like legal positivism further also doesn't have any ground to defend their laws, and so
right.
they need to, have the state, right? They need
It's
to
it's
protect the
unentailed,
state.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, this book focuses on science and the making. This is I got this from Bunge's book, one of Bunge's books. This next one, this next paragraph.
This.
Hmm.
This book focuses on science in the making as well as on its philosophical presuppositions, such as those of rationality and realism, although these presuppositions are mostly tacit and thus easily overlooked.
Mostly
Actually, they
tacit.
are sub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the philosophical presuppositions are mostly tacit and thus easily overlooked. Actually, they are supremely important. Since some of them favor research, whereas others hamper it. For instance, whereas subjectivism leads to navel gazing and uncontrolled fantasy, realism encourages us to explore the world and check our conjectures.
Mm.
I love that. I love that.
There is an old fable which I read in Russian. I do not know whether it exists in
This is
English.
from
A pig
Rand.
comes. Ah, I see.
It's from Rand.
I've never read this before. A pig
It's
comes
in
home.
philosophy. Who needs it?
devours the acorn strewn on the ground, and when his belly is full, starts digging the soil to undercut the oak tree's roots. A bird perched on a high branch upbraids himself, saying, "If you could lift your snoot, you would discover that the acorns grow on this tree. In order to avoid that paved world in the forest of the intellect, one must know and protect the philosophical tree that produces the acorns of one's convictions, goals, and desires, and conversely, one must not gobble up any brightly colored fruits one finds without bothering to discover that it comes from a deadly yew tree. If a layman did no more than learn to identify the nature of such fruit and stop munching it or passing it around, they would stop being the victims and the unway transmission belts of philosophical poison. But a minimal grasp of philosophy is required in order to do it. Right. And I mean, it is. I mean, she's really good at representing that when, you're looking at her fiction and you see all these philosophically disempowered people
Mhm.
as opposed to these philosophically empowered
Yeah, you
people.
can skip all of this stuff here. This is copy and pasted from Peikoff, the dim hypothesis. I think most of it is,
Philosophy and science are both best done together.
and some of it is from other stuff. I think philosophy must enter. I love this quote. I love this quote. Go scroll up, scroll up. You passed it.
Philosophy
Can you
must
scroll
enter
up?
into life.
Can you scroll up again? 1 second. Can you scroll up again? Uh, okay, yeah. This is the dim high. This is all the dim hypothesis. I was just like making sure. This is all the dim hypothesis here. So, yeah, philosophy and science are best done together. This is a basically that's just I think that paragraph is about the ancient Greek, like the context of like ancient Greece and like why they, started questioning their questions and like going into philosophy and science and started thinking about stuff like that, right? And that it was like it wasn't like in a void, I saw that as like a good paragraph to like note to put down there. But this quote, I really love this quote. This next quote, yeah, and then
Philosophy
yeah,
must
there.
enter into life. That applies not only to the individual, but also to the condition of the time, to history, and to humanity. Power of philosophy must penetrate everything because one cannot live without it.
Love that
I mean,
quote.
yeah.
It, it's from this paper from Gare. I forget. I got it from the same paper as the paragraph above. This is from Gare's paper.
And ever since I started initially learning about objectivism, I definitely was like,
I mean,
yeah,
Gare is
this is
definitely not an objectivist.
necessary. This is necessary.
Yeah, Gare's definitely not an objectivist, but he seems to take philosophy seriously. I mean, he's like actually like a fucking neo-Marxist of some sorts. It's fucking weird. Like he's like a ecological neo-Marxist of some sort or something like that. I don't know, but like
Sounds
he has some
bizarre.
great papers on like philosophy and like Rosen's stuff, and philosophy of science. I think he has some really great papers on that.
I mean, everyone in fucking academia is a fucking commie. I mean,
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah, so with its origins in ancient Greece, the goal of philosophy was to provide the foundations for an integrated understanding of the universe and the place of man within it, through which people could appreciate the meaning of their lives and live accordingly. I love that. That's also uh like taken directly from Gare's paper.
Philosophy of science, which is the subject of this course. Philosophy of science, studying the logical, epistemological, and ontological commitments and upshots, depending of scientific research. You good? I don't know what happened. What's the agreement discussion?
Yo, 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 can you hear me? My phone just
Yeah.
died. Yeah, my
Oh,
phone just died. I had to plug it back in and charge it.
oh,
Sorry about that.
ancient Greece ever say fast material.
And see, I was sort of defining philosophy of science here, and I was like, no, 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 no. I need to go back to the origin of this shit to understand what it really is. You know,
Mm.
I can't just define it, bro. You know. So I went all the way back to fucking Thales, bro. And I read a whole fucking book on Thales.
I mean, yeah, this love of knowledge thing. I mean, I don't know. I've always felt this way. Is like I always feel good whenever I can integrate like something philosophical into like my personal life.
And
I'm
through
just always like
looking, sorry, you continue.
I always feel good whenever I can integrate something like philosophical into my personal life. Like that was like my first goal with philosophy. I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to get this integrated into my life before I can go out there and like convince anyone else or like do any of this shit. Like I need to figure out how to apply it to my life. And like the Fountainhead definitely helped a lot of that aspect. Like
Yeah.
I really, really was like, yeah, I do think I get it now. Like I understand what to look out for in this modern world where everyone's a fucking altruist and everyone's a fucking positivist.
Oh yeah, the one you're reading right now, that one's from me. I basically wrote that sentence just me, you know? I just
The
wrote
love of
that.
knowledge thing.
Yeah, that sentence right there. I mean, this paragraph here, I just wrote that myself. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. Greece,
The
however, were
question
certainly not the
they were
first to
questions
develop.
that no one ever dreamed of asking before, or at least never pursued in a persistent, systematic way. Hence, the door to philosophy and science remained closed. Oh no.
Oh no.
The Greeks, however, I really like this quote. I got into a lot of like really I found a lot of really cool history of the philosophy of science books through reading this book on Thales, you know? I found a lot of really cool stuff. Like this book from Lloyd. But this quote is really good. I like this quote.
Demonstration. They were not the first to carry out careful observations in astronomy and medicine, only the first, eventually, to develop an explicit notion of empirical research and to debate its role in natural science. They were not the first to diagnose and treat some medical cases without reference to postulated divine or demonic agencies, only the first to express a category of the magical and to attempt to exclude it from medicine. In each of these three instances, these differences relate to new and fundamental questions about the aims, methods, and assumptions. In astronomy, mathematics, and medicine, the Greeks permanently bring into the open and discuss second order questions concerning the nature of the inquiry itself.
Just like boom, like I fucking love that, bro. I love that the way, like I said this earlier about second order questions concerning the nature of the inquiry itself, right? I mean
Mm-hmm.
and I just got that from this quote here from Lloyd. It would forget what the fuck I have it somewhere in my notes. Fucking Lloyd's book. You can probably find it if you like search it in the book on Thales. No, you can search it in there. The book on Thales, like that's I think where I found Lloyd's book in. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think it might be where I got it from. So if you like Control F for Lloyd in that Thales book, you might find what that book is. From yeah, yeah, yeah.
Early Greek science, Thales or
Yeah,
Aristotle.
yeah, that was a good book. But I think it was another book from G.E.R. Lloyd. He's a historian of science. Yeah, like,
Say
and
it.
I'm just like, I got opened up to
Quoting
like,
an analogy. Two types of argumentation in early Greek thought.
yeah, I got open to this like fucking, this huge body of literature on just like historians of science, and it's just like really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool to read about. Like, you read that quote, like there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. Cause they're just like they're actually just talking about the history, like not fucking like the actual like historical details.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked that aspect. Because that's why, because I wanted to take a philosophy class, because I
Yeah,
thought that's literally all they did.
there's fucking tons of like books by Lloyd here. I forget. I think it was early Greek science. I think it was that one. And, you can keep going. I think it was early Greek science, but I'm not sure. Like, I think it might have been something else. It might have been that
This is
one.
probably it. Yeah.
It might have been that one. It's either that one or the early Greek science one. But like, I think there's another one that's like philosophy and medicine. Like, it might have been that one. Like, I think there's another one. If you keep going, uh,
Maybe this.
I'm not sure. It was one of these. One of these. One of these. But they're all basically talking about like, you see like the titles. They're talking about basically that. They're talking about like what was just talked about there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
You just skip the whole thing there.
Hmm.
This- Yeah, yeah. This is could it be that the only thing that says about all this clearly, yeah. That was like kind of like the idea I was like trying to put there. That was like this is from fucking like Peikoff says something similar when he brings in Thales and stuff. But yeah, the Greeks were impressed with the sheer multiplicity of things that populate the world. Yeah,
There must, they thought, be some sort of relationship or permanent uniting, being them part of one universe. After all, some of them change into others, and they equally struck by this.
and you could see the connections to our discussions about the first and second law. You know.
Yeah, they're like asking, like, what is this about? Right, the explanans and explanand. To be clear, we have not yet, particularly the question, so much as identified as object. Dude, it's so true. Like, the fucking world can be anything fucking but, like, irretractable non-specificity. Like, it could be fucking anything. And it's just like, you're just fucking like, oh, dude, but you're only looking at fucking isolated particulars, bro. You can't know anything. And it's like, but like, dude, we have all of this fucking history of just fucking knowledge. We have all these fucking books, all of this information that tells us how we can even fucking know any of this shit. What are the first fucking principles of how we can know anything? It's like they're right there. They're out there. People have already found them. And it's like you're just saying, "Oh no, bro, that's actually wrong."
How in the world will we make sense of this?
Well, first things first, we must put in the form of a question so that an answer may take form. And so, what if any physical connection is to unite into an integral whole? This riot of differences. Unless such either highly visible or understanding the world remain fragmented. That's because it is actually an attempt to erase rather than explain any differences we already know to exist among particular things.
No, that was like
Uh,
that was referring to something else. It's not continuous with that
ah.
paragraph.
And so, for being the first man in recorded history that asked this question, and therefore to conceive of a new kind of question, one which opened up a whole new area of thought, Thales of Miletus is said to be the father of science and philosophy in the West.
And this is exactly how Peikoff starts his philosophy, I mean, history of philosophy course, right? When he brings up
Mm,
Thales, he talks about the search for the unifying principle. And this example of ice to water is, I got it from him. Like, he literally talks about this. Like, there are these problems, like a multiplicity, right? Just these facts of multiplicity. And, like, we just had to deal with it. Like, fucking, how do we deal with this fucking fact of multiplicity, right? Just that there's all these things, all these different things, and there's change, and the fact of change too, multiplicity and change. How do we fucking deal with this change? Like, we, after all, there's change. You know, some things become other things. You know, like, what do we like? You know, like, what do we even say about that, right? So it's not, we're
yeah,
not
like
starting with,
why?
we're not starting
Yeah.
with Parmenidean symmetry. We're not starting with Parmenidean. We're starting with a world full of things. You know, we have all these things,
Mm.
and things are changing. You know, around us, and I'm just like, man, what do we like? I want to know. You know, I want to know about
Yeah,
it.
it's like we have all this. I can't remember how you or what the differentiation is in that
There's
actual
this
thing that you're
paper.
talking
There's the
about.
paper. There's a paper
But
by
it's like,
Eleanor Gibson. The world is so full of things. I love that paper.
yeah, and it's like we have all this like explanandum. We have all of these objects, all these things to explain,
Yeah.
and it's like there's so much power and like there's so much excitement to like
Yeah, this
explain it all.
explanatory PowerPoint, I Peikoff didn't make, but you see how I inserted it there. It was really important to insert that point about explanatory power and extracting the explanatory value from this. Like, we can clearly see the explanatory value in something like this, right?
Mm.
I just love the way I put that together.
To answer the question, Theo says the principle is water. When Aristotle embarked on his examination of the theories of his predecessors, natural philosophers, he pursued a wide range of possibilities. Thales' approach was sufficiently outstanding and original for Aristotle to claim Thales as the first natural philosopher. Aristotle was much involved in the study of science and in the history of scientific investigation, and consequently, attracted to Thales' questioning approach because he recognized it as being scientific. The basis for this claim being that he discusses serious stats, Aristotle accurately recorded Thales' approach as a naturalistic approach to the world rather than a supernaturalistic one, and preferred a number of conjectures based on observation which might have justified Thales' decision. He provided the testimony that Thales supplanted myth in his explanations of the behavior of natural phenomenon.
Right, and this is like, man, like, fucking Peikoff. Like, I hate that he fucking writes off Thales. It's like, you know, he doesn't so much write him off. He says, you know, Thales, like, he was, what he said was very important, right? But he doesn't go into it like Oyam or Grady. Grady goes fucking into this really, like, really well. I love it. That like, given Thales context, right? Saying the principle, the unifying principle is water is not such a crazy thing, right? Uh, I mean, I think Peikoff says something like that.
I
He
mean, yeah,
acknowledged,
because it's like
but
they're
but it might
trying
sound silly,
to
right?
like
It might sound silly,
yeah,
but
when you're
it wasn't
talking about
something
it,
that Thales just made up. He didn't just come out of a
yeah,
void, right? He was
it's
literally
also
looking at things. He was looking at making observations and trying to connect these things, right? And just trying to find what connected them, right? And it's like, even
mm,
before, you know, the principle of conservation of energy, right? We like we had Leibniz and we had even Descartes. You know, they recognized that there had to be some sort of conservation, but they just got the conservation wrong, right?
Mm.
They thought like Descartes thought, like there's a conservation of movement, like, and that's how the fucking gap was like the dualistic gap was bridged. But like movement is not conserved. That's fucking retarded. But yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, you also have to understand the context in which these people, like the historical time in which these people existed, they knew nothing. They really didn't have
Like,
all
yeah,
the
before
scientific
we had energy,
things.
and we fallaciously thought it was like the caloric, right? The caloric theory of heat and stuff. Like we had all this stuff
Yeah,
before the conservation of energy was like discovered. We like just trying to understand what the conservation is. And then
yeah,
even
it's
after
like
that,
it's you don't know the
even
word.
after we said it was energy, right? Even after we said it was energy,
Mm,
we didn't understand energy, right? And we didn't even understand it, right? We couldn't even really define it until we understood entropy, right?
mm-hmm. And yeah, I
And
mean, it's like when you have like you're thinking of a word and it's like you don't know what the word is, but you're like thinking of things that are relevant to it. And that's kind of what Thales is doing. He's like,
yeah, and we really didn't
yeah, like
understand the first law. We really didn't
the
understand the first law
principle is
too
water,
much
right? And it's
until
like
yeah.
you can kind of intuit that he's saying it's the unity. There's a unifying thing.
hmm Well, it's just like there's one universe, right? That's what philosophy is trying to do. We're trying to like integrate stuff, like what, like the Gare quote from earlier, right? Or find our place in the universe or whatever. That fucking
Mm,
Gare quote. Go back to it. Go back to it. I love the way he states this, right? The role, what philosophy is for. Search our place, I guess. You can control that for our place. Right.
this is your
Only
place.
your place. Place in the just put place in the no, it's below that. No, no. What the hell? Where is it? It was like right above what we were reading.
What is it?
Uh,
Where? Look up there.
live accordingly. Search up live accordingly. Live accordingly, bro. You won't find it. Live according. Okay, now go down. There we go. All right. With its origins in ancient Greece, the goal of philosophy was to provide the foundations for an integrated understanding of the universe and the place of man within it, through which people could appreciate the meaning of their lives and live accordingly. I love that. I love the way he
Mm.
puts that, because that's really what philosophy was for. So again, they're trying to find the unifying principle, right? We have all these things, right? And we're saying that they're part of one universe, right? They're part of a unity. And that was like, Peikoff talks all about this, how like the Greeks were the first to say this.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of like thought like, yeah, like philosophy is just our
And
very
it's just
unique
like,
way of getting through this
but again,
world.
it didn't come through a void. Remember the quote from what's his name? Lloyd. The quote from Lloyd. Remember the quote from Lloyd. He identifies how exactly this came about, right? The key differences in like Greeks, like the ancient Greeks, like the from their predecessors in Egypt and Babylonia, right? From like he goes really into deep detail, basically what Peikoff says, about it, right?
Hmm.
But like in a lot more like deeper like historical detail. So I think it's great. I think it's great. Lloyd's work there. as a historian of
Interesting.
science, of ancient science, which is cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah. So it's like it motivates. It's you see why they're searching for the unifying principle, right? Just to unify things, like in their knowledge to unify it, right? Like remember we were talking about astrology and medicine and all that, like how they innovated in like their unique innovations were literally like you can go back to the Lloyd quote if you want to see that, right? I don't want to like try and remember exactly how he stated it because he stated it like perfectly, you know, like he was literally like just recounting, right, the events, right, that actually played out.
Okay. I think I get it. I get it.
Okay,
So
really,
basically, it's just
are you reading this? Yeah, the principle is water.
am I
You were reading
reading
this
it?
paragraph. You were reading this
Yeah.
paragraph.
Aristotle was much involved in the study of science and the history of scientific investigation, and consequently he was attracted to the Thales questioning approach because he recognized it as being scientific. The basis for this claim being that he discussed the theories of Thales, in particular in scientific terms. Aristotle unequivocally recorded Thales' approach as a naturalistic approach. On a number of conditions, Thales applied the myth in his explanation of behavior of natural phenomena. Explanation that the gods far distant on Olympus controlled nature and the affairs of man could not satisfy Thales. From what we know of his contemporaries and the esteem in which he was held by later philosopher scientists, we conclude that Thales' mind was not attuned to the mythopoeic traditions. Thales believed that the events of nature had natural causes, and that this is born out of Aristotle's considered testimony. Evidence indicates that he recognized the regularity of natural phenomena and perceived that if he could identify the unifying principle, he would be able to detect the causal system and hence be able to explain their processes of change. These details observe
Mm.
certain regularities in nature, in the heavenly bodies, the phenomena of the seasons, and the weather.
And this is
He
all a
recognized
quote.
that,
This is all a quote. That line right there is so reminiscent of everything I've said about impredicativity and explanation and system description, right? And having no unentailed terms, all that stuff, right? Like you see how reminiscent it is. That to find the causal
yeah.
system. Yeah.
I mean, it's so
Or
interesting about
the
like people
regularities
in
in nature.
history. It's like these people in history, it's like they make these like they just think about these things and then
And
it's
then
like,
it's like,
wow, they were really fucking close. They were really
yeah.
close.
No, they were there, bro. They were there. Fucking Thales, he was doing it,
I mean, yeah, he
And
was
that
pretty much there. He didn't really have much of a name for it, but he was there. It's like,
he
yeah,
didn't have
this
any
is
he didn't have any like predecessors really to like base it, and he just fucking was just fucking exploring it,
pondering. Bro,
yeah.
the bro's pondering it.
Not just pondering, he was observing stuff, he was exploring, he was trying to he was a very accomplished like researcher, like actually like in a lot of different fields,
Hmm.
like from astronomy to like fucking geography and like crazy, like it said that he predicted like a fucking solar eclipse with like fucking astronomy.
All right. I should probably go though, man. My fucking head's
Come
hurting.
on, bro. This come on. Let's finish this. This is so good, bro.
Uh,
It doesn't make you feel good, bro. Like excited. Like I'm trying to like it builds like excitement, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, like I mean, when you're understanding
This is
the
exciting,
nature of
bro.
philosophy,
Look at Thales. He's a hero. He's a real hero. Like that's what I'm trying to point out here, bro. That's what I'm trying to point out here.
seems to
Sorry,
think
I
that
just want
people
I just point out how reminiscent that sentence was about What was the sentence? The evidence indicates that he recognized the regularity in natural phenomena and perceived that he could identify the unifying principle. He would be able to detect and perceive that if he could identify the unifying principle, he would be able to detect the causal system and hence be able to explain the processes of change. Just boom. I fucking love that. Okay, yeah. It seems that Thales observed certain regularities in nature, in the heavenly bodies, the phenomena of the seasons and of weather. He recognized that these. Do you want me to do you want me to read it or do you want to read it? Take you to
I
read.
can read this quote. He recognizes these retain a certain pattern, even though there are variations. He saw the orderliness of those events which occurred within the annual circularity and recognized a harmony in nature which, at least to him, could not be satisfied by reference to these supernatural beings with whom he would have been familiar. It seems certain that he believed that all natural events occurred within the intervention of personalized, without the intervention of
Natural
personalized
order.
God,
There's natural order, natural laws.
and that consequently these phenomena admitted of a new type of non-theological explanation. There is no ancient evidence that tells us how Thales arrived at his theories, but Aristotle considered the Thales supposition that water is the basis of all things may have resulted from his observation of certain details. It is feasible to suggest that following his doubts that the natural phenomena he observed could be attributed to supernatural intervention, he would have thought reasons or causes or law from within nature itself.
Yeah, that's why he said the principle is water.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't have a name or a definition for this
Because
concept, but
he's not
he's
appealing to
got it.
some unentailed, you know, like magic. He's not appealing to magic. That's the fucking important part. That's the fucking huge innovation with Thales. He's not appealing to magic. He's appealing to water. A thing you can point to and you can start doing experiments with and start testing Thales's, hypothesis here.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And that's what his students did actually. And it goes into that. But that's like crazy, right? Like that
Yeah.
last sentence, that last sentence there, right? He was not like it is feasible to suggest that following his doubts that the natural phenomena he observed could be attributed to supernatural intervention, and O'Grady talks about that more like in her whole book, right? uh, he would have sought reasons or causes or laws from within nature itself, right? And remember the whole discussion about no unentailed terms, right?
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah, so I love that. I love that. I thought that's why it's perfect to start the whole book off with this, right?
It's really
Right.
that's crazy, man.
There can be no doubt that Thales extended. Do you want to continue there?
There can be no doubt that Thales extended knowledge because he sought explanation within the nature. Within the nature of things, his proposals were bound to introduce novel ideas and new knowledge. This contrasts with the supernatural explanations, which allow fewer opportunities for investigation and critical deduction, and no prospect of the addition or substitution of radically different conjectures and
Right.
scientific
I mean,
discovery.
like basically what's it called? Epicycles. Epicycles, There's no evidence, there's no data that can refute epicycles, right? Epicycles, which were, all these, like it was just like this invented, like basically ad hoc, correction just to fix the, like they just like kept, drawing these like crazy like trajectories, right? Doing like just to satisfy the geocentric model of the solar system, right? And
Hmm.
it's just epicycles. It can't be refuted by more data, right?
Yeah.
It's the assumption itself that's wrong, right? It's these
Which I
these
mean, in the
these
context of
arbitrary
our
assumptions, these
knowledge,
unentailed assumptions. You can't
yeah.
question a mystical, like appeal to fucking the supernatural, right? There's no questioning it. It shuts off questioning, right? It's meant to completely block off questioning. but
Yeah,
that's not a
within the
natural
context of their knowledge, they would
but a
never
natural
agree with
explanation.
that.
Yeah, a natural explanation opens up questioning. It opens up brand new questions, crazy questions, you know? Just like we were talking about the shifting understanding of primary qualities, right? And how that's why Turby started that in lecture 5 under the section of the right degrees of freedom, searching for the right degrees of freedom. But yeah, sorry.
All right.
This is just connecting back to what we were talking about for so long. Yeah.
That
But I
is
love this
interesting.
source.
That's cool. Yeah.
It was the beginning of
Interesting.
science.
It
Something
was.
extraordinary, something extraordinary, astonishing, and momentous was happening, and its birthplace was in Miletus. I love this paragraph. I love it, bro. There can be no doubt that Thales extended knowledge because he sought explanation within nature, within the nature of things. His proposals were bound to introduce novel ideas and new knowledge. This contrasts with the supernatural explanations, which allow fewer opportunities for investigation and critical discussion, and no prospect of the addition or substitution of radically different conjectures and scientific discovery. Something extraordinary, astonishing, and momentous was happening, and its birthplace was in Miletus. An activity that was far removed from the ordinary was going from the ordinary going on in Miletus, and as far as we can judge from the evidence, was happening for the first time. All right, Thales made a distinct break from the mythical ways of describing the universe to a scientific explanation. It was the beginning of science.
Beginning of science.
Right? This is like this whole book is on science, the philosophy of science. So this is the beginning of science. This is how science began, bro. Right? That's what we need to understand. I love this whole fucking part, bro. Like I love everything here. Yeah, Popper 1963.
These are the starting point of science. It's not observation, and it is not intuition. It starts from attempts to solve problems which arise when it is realized that the accepted theories fail to answer satisfactory new questions about the world. Right, like a hypothesis.
Do Control Z. I think you just like messed it up. Press Control. Yeah, there we go.
I did.
Yeah.
Accepted theories fail to answer satisfactory new questions about the world. Some stage Thales realized that the commonly accepted ideas failed to provide satisfactory explanations of the events of nature. This led him to depart from the traditional beliefs and thus investigated a totally new approach to nature. Fresh and unique way of looking at the world and of explaining natural events free of religious or mythological influences and restraints. Although it could be observed that praying or making some sacrifice to the gods would result in some experimental confirmation, thus had conducted even the most elementary experiments using water, his success rate would have been much greater than any results that would have been attained by invoking the gods.
And that's
It is
crazy.
also
Like
observed.
that sentence right there is crazy. You need to pause on that. That sentence, bro. Like you're like not reading it very clearly, bro. Yeah.
I'm just reading through it.
Right. At some stage, Thales realized that the commonly accepted ideas failed to provide satisfactory explanations. Okay, I'll just read the whole paragraph because you read it really bad. Popper believes that the starting point of science is not observation and it's not intuition, but it starts from attempts to solve problems which arise when it is realized that the accepted theories fail to answer satisfactorily. New questions about the world. New questions about the world. Right. That's a key point. At
Mhm.
some stage, Thales realized that the commonly accepted ideas failed to provide satisfactory explanations of the events of nature. This led him to depart from the traditional beliefs and thus instigated a totally new approach to nature, a fresh and unique way of looking at the world and of explaining natural events free of religious or mythological influences and restraints. Although it could be observed, this is super important fucking sentence right here. Like it's super important. Although it could be observed that praying or making some sacrifice to the gods would result in some experimental confirmation. If Thales had conducted even the most elementary experiments using water, his success rate would
Mhm.
his success rate would have been much greater than any results that would have been attained by invoking the gods. The results of even the crudest of experiments to test the potentialities of water, because it's a natural thing, right? To test the potentialities of water would have helped to support his hypothesis and produce problems for rival theories which relied upon godly intervention. Hence, they would need to adopt a naturalistic approach like Thales and seek out natural explanations of their own to even hope to refute him. And just like, what does that remind you of? Remember the stuff
um,
we've talked about evidentiary reasoning?
yeah, I mean, you can like if you have these first principles and like
You
this is
have
also
some
something
evidence. You can point to something in nature, right?
this is also
Evidence
something that
must
Zulu
answer to
says,
evidence.
right? This is something Zulu says. He says, if you know philosophy, if you know your shit, you can fucking run circles around any fucking idiot you want.
Yeah, but it's
You
not
can run
even that. It's
circles
just
around them.
it's like it's just what I said about the arbitrary before, right? You
Yeah, it's like
you
these
can make
people
an
that
infinite
invoke
number of
God.
incompatible arbitrary claims on the same
Yeah,
non-basis, and that the key point is that the arbitrary, since it's baseless, it has no basis, right? You can have no basis to prefer the arbitrary, right? To prefer any one arbitrary claim over any other arbitrary claim that's incompatible, like any other arbitrary incompatible claim. You just have no basis to prefer anyone over any other, right? But that
and it's
also
like if you
means
only have
you have no.
one
That also
explainable
means
theory,
you have no basis to prefer the arbitrary over the non-arbitrary, right?
mm,
If you have some evidence, right? If you have something you can point to, right? Then somebody has to, like, if anybody wants to even like refute it, right? They have to bring some evidence of their own, some stronger evidence, right? You
right?
get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
I mean it
unequivocal
is
that way,
because these people
right?
can
Remember,
just make
remember about
any
it being
number of these
unequivocal.
claims. What?
What? Remember, that would make it unequivocal, right?
Yeah,
If that's the key point here. It's unequivocal. Thales' claim was unequivocal with the arbitrary. Was unequivocal with supernatural explanations, such that to even touch Thales' claims, you would have to invoke some natural explanation of your own. You would have to point to something in nature. You understand the point there, right? Thales' explanation, his natural explanation, was unequivocal with the
hmm
arbitrary, with the supernatural. When any other
but like
supernatural
that's
claim is
just
equivocal,
well,
right?
you can't make any other claim because it would just be baseless.
Right. We have some
So
basis
yeah,
to
I mean,
prefer it, right?
it also yeah, I mean that's the thing is that it also refers back to um the whole syllogism that we talked about
Hmm.
initially. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
why I was
you
explaining
know,
it in those terms, because you understand those terms, right? That it's unequivocal.
yeah, just because, you have this claim that something cannot do something doesn't mean that you need to provide no evidence, right? Because it is an assumption you're making. And ultimately,
Ultimately,
you need to have
you don't.
evidence.
Right, right, right. Evidence. Not you have to point to something in nature, man. Point to something
Point
that's
to the
subject to the
impoverishment. Tell
just
me
point to
where it
something
is.
that's subject to fucking universal time translation symmetry, bro. Something that's actually fucking like part of the universe is everything else, right? That's what you gotta point to. not something out that's fucking beyond the fucking universe that doesn't exist. You know, then you have a dualism, and you can't bridge the dualism. But yeah, let's continue. I thought it was very important to make that point explicit so you understood it.
Mm-hmm. This much is evident in the conjectures put forward by the other.
Wait,
Uh,
I didn't finish. I didn't even finish. Okay, yeah. Uh, did I finish? Oh yeah, I did
yeah.
finish. I did.
Certainly, they found his theories on the nature of matter to be wanting, each going on to develop new and unique theories of their own. They veer from the basic principles of Thales, and this probably is indicative of the style of the Milesian school. What?
That he was pointing to natural explanations, and so they like now it opened up all these new fucking theories. They're now fucking you have all these other Milesians like they're uh like I explain it in like the next paragraph or like the next one, somewhere there. But like basically what their whole like theories were, like uh I don't know if I explained it there, but it's explained in the history book. I mean, in O'Grady's book, and it's explained like Peikoff mentions it. Like how like this one guy thought it like the unifying principle was Earth, or no, no, not Earth. I think he said like the unifying principle was like air or something, right? And then like there was another one who said the unifying principle was I forget. Like there was like fucking like something else. I forget. It was like some special thing.
Mm, okay. It is a
But they
historical
started.
fact
Yeah.
that the hypothesis of Milesians were soon followed by a plethora of bold grave theories from men of
Discussion
originality
and
and
criticism, right? Discussion and criticism were not only probable but perhaps encouraged. Were encouraged in the pursuit of understanding. The indicative of the style of Milesian school. You didn't finish that.
oh,
Something
it is a historical
extraordinary. Yeah,
fact. Yeah, I already
I already read that. Yeah.
uh it is a historical fact that the hypothesis of Milesians were soon followed by a plethora of bold creative theories from men of originality, courage, outstanding perception, and sometimes of an astonishing absurdity. Historian of ancient science G.R. Lloyd argues that there is no reason to believe that the Greeks were invested with a special mental capacity. 64 claiming in another work that there are problems in associating a specific mental capacity to a group or society. He stated that collectives do not think, only individuals. 65, in an earlier publication, he identified one of those individuals when he wrote, "Yet, despite the achievements of the Near Eastern peoples in the fields of medicine, mathematics, and astronomy, it is still reasonable to argue that Thales was the first philosopher-scientist. Thales' view that it is possible to comprehend and explain nature without recourse to the supernatural constituted an enormous intellectual leap and broke with, sorry, an enormous intellectual leap and break with previous styles of explanation. From all we know of them, previous explanations of the universe were dogmatic. People had certainly observed the world quite closely before Thales made his great philosophical pronouncement. The Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek stories are attempts to explain occurrences in nature and do theorize on the basis of observation of it. But what we do not find for the time of Thales is any suggestion of critical discussion. They have been unable to explain natural processes without the invention of a great number of unnecessary hidden entities. There was a god for all occasions and occupations, from the all-powerful Marduk to a god to the brick mold, a god for the plow, and a god to guard the sharpness of tools. It is not a good explanation, however, because it invokes a number of hidden entities which may now be seen to be unnecessary. Once such invocation began, the number of hidden entities became almost limitless. It is difficult to find any compelling reason to choose one or another, or for not accepting one or more hidden entity. Prior to Thales, the old poets had provided their mythological descriptions of natural events. They made statements which were accepted because they were the traditional of long-standing views of long-standing, which, as far as is known, were not seriously questioned.
And you see that's basically what I was just saying about the arbitrary, being equivocal with the arbitrary. And this quote by Lloyd is also really good. Perhaps the reason that evidence for the existence of these entities was not subjected to critical scrutiny is that only uh, once the notion of nature as a universal principle was grasped, then those divine interferences must be seen as miracles.
The suspension of nature, the explicit expression of a universalized concept of nature involves a corresponding development or clarification in the notion of marvels or miracles. The category of the supernatural develops, in fact, pari passu with that of the natural. Uh, Even in the philosophers, oh, that's some interesting OCR you got there. Indeed,
Right?
as
Yeah,
we
yeah.
noted when
Fucking like wow, like I had to go into Lloyd, like I literally had to. This wasn't quoted in like in O'Grady's book. Like I just had to go into Lloyd, and I fucking found this, and I was like, bro, what? Like the way he puts this is just fucking like beautiful, bro. Like it's so great, like so perfect. Like he's so based here, bro. It's crazy. G.E.R. Lloyd, man.
interesting. Even in the philosophers, indeed, as we noted when discussing Empedocles, quite intensive investigations of nature may be combined with a belief in the possibility of wonderworking. Although the exact status of the marvelous effects that Empedocles claimed could be produced is not clear. Yet, if there is a distinct ambivalence in the position of some philosophers and some medical writers, in others, the emphasis is more clearly on the all embracing character of the principle that every physical event has a determinate natural cause, while the idea of what is natural in the sense of what is usual permits exceptions. The notion of what is contrary to nature. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. It was like in italics, so it copied wrong. You know,
Interesting. Comes to be
it's like a
used
A
in,
Latin phrase.
yeah, something something comes to be used in that sense. The unusual, the irregular. Not in a sense that implies that such events either have no physical cause or have causes that lie outside the domain of nature. It is the conception of a domain of nature encompassing all physical phenomena that is eventually developed by some philosophers and that in some medical writers becomes the cornerstone of the rejection of the belief in the possibility of divine intervention in physical conditions.
And just like boom, that like really tells you why the unifying principle is so fucking important. You know, without the unifying
Mhm.
principle, without the universal principle, right? And he even says it, right? He says once the notion of nature as a universal principle was grasped, right? Then those divine interferences must be seen as miracles, the suspension of nature. The
Mm.
explicit expression of a universalized concept of nature involves a corresponding development or clarification in the notion of marvels or miracles. The category of the supernatural develops, in fact, pari passu with that of the natural. Ooh, you know? Now
Yeah.
we see really why the unifying principle is so key, and we see it in Thales, we see it right, like with his natural explanation, right? It's
Mm.
unequivocal with the supernatural. When we get this uniform, the notion of nature as a universal principle, you know what I mean? Is like that's how we exclude the supernatural
All right. So
from
much more is
explanations of nature, right? That's how we exclude the supernatural as valid explanations of natural events, right? We have to have some universal conception of nature first. What do you think about that?
Man, it's just so crazy. I never would have thought that like some pre-Aristotle guy figured it out. Because I mean, yeah, like all of the dominant philosophy was just all mystic. It was all
Without it, bro,
magic.
without this unifying principle, all right, which is the doors to philosophy and science just remained closed, you know, and that's exactly why. That's exactly why Thales is seen as the first natural philosopher.
Yeah, and I mean, if I were to be as simplistic as possible to explain the unitary principle, I mean, it would literally just be to stop living in disbelief. Like we don't have to view the world as unreal or needing some extra physical thing to regulate it. We just need to know that we are here. It's a regulated world. Like it's there's a world around
I
us.
mean, yeah, yeah, just like I mean, everything we've talked about like uh the time translation symmetry, the universal time translation symmetry of physical laws. That's the innovation from Noether, Emmy Noether, to the understanding of the first law, right? And we talked all about that. How what that really implies that I mean, the first law is just I mean, the concept of universe. The concept of the universe refers to exactly what the first law refers to, which is the universal time translation symmetry of physical laws. You know that it's a universe, right? Of it's a one universe, right? So anything that basically breaks that symmetry, that is just like it's all part of one universe, right? Is just invalid,
Mm.
you know. It's accounting for the universe. That's the laws of thermodynamics are accounting for the universe,
Yeah,
and we
obviously
talked we talked
thermodynamics
all
is like
about
a
it.
much
Yeah.
richer way of saying whatever I was
Mhm.
saying. But I mean, yeah,
Right. I
it's
mean,
just like
yeah.
all of these people back then, they were just living in disbelief. They're like, there's no way that I'm here in the world and nothing is wrong, right? It's like they couldn't believe it. So they had to add in all of these extra gods to explain it.
Right, and without a unifying bro, it's like we had to be in the right like like cultural like environment, just like for a person like Thales to come along and start asking the right questions, bro. And this is why I built up to it that way. I was really like stressing how like monumentous, like momentous, and like how extraordinary this like development was,
Mm-hmm.
and like how it required asking the right questions and being able to ask the right questions, right, to get to just like ask like the unifying for the unifying principle, right, to ask after the unifying principle, right, that is the notion of nature as a unifying principle, as the unifying principle, really, the universe, right, existence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, is there a little bit more there? I think there's a little bit more there, man.
Uh,
Just
Not
look at it.
really. I think all the stuff under OG is notes. Like, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. But like, yeah. So look at the end here. I gave another, like,
Linguistic
I put another.
philosophers had been
Yeah,
unable to envisage the processes without the invocation of a greater number of unnecessary hidden entities. Since Thales never invoked a power that was not explained within natural events, or that was not explainable within natural events, the claim that he did not invoke unnecessary entities is justified. But because Thales realized that the events of nature bore no relationship to the mythological entity, he was able to put forward proposals that explain natural phenomena as events occurring without the need for unnecessary hidden entities.
yeah. I was just
Whether
like
something,
control. I was just
yeah,
control Fing for hidden entities, or like in the O'Grady book. and those were just like copy and pasted from like what I got in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what I'm saying. He just didn't live in disbelief. He was like, yeah, I mean, this, I mean, this just is what it is.
Oh yeah,
It's
this is good. This is
happening
good.
behind the curtain.
Yeah, let's continue. Let's continue. I'm like I'm bringing in G.R. Lloyd. I was getting into what G.R. Lloyd was saying, and it was like so fucking like great though what he was saying, man.
Well, there is sometimes only a fine line between the myth and the fact. There is an enormous intellectual leap. Myth explains nature according to the vision of the poets, mythographers, and priests, but Thales had a different vision, such as the stupendous range of color, shape, color, density, and texture of material things. It might appear a hopeless task to attempt to understand the nature of matter, but it was not a task that but it was not a task that deterred Thales. He asked the question, what is real? No less than Plato and Aristotle did, and no matter what the answer given may be, where that question is asked, there we have philosophy. Two, what the
Yeah,
world
yeah, yeah.
perceive
There,
will be
where that
directly
question is,
influenced.
there we have philosophy. What is real?
What is
Now we
real?
understand what that means, right? What that question is really asking after is the unifying principle, which allows us to exclude the supernatural from explanations of natural events, right?
Mhm.
That's just like boom, pow, fucking like explosion, right? I know you feel it, bro. You know. Yeah, this is the last one. This next G.R. Lloyd quote.
This quote.
I, yeah, I got it from G.R. Lloyd, so it's the OCR is a bit mixed up, but there's still some.
Universal force can be demonstrated quite simply. If I rub a plastic pen on my jacket, I remove electrons from the orbit of the outer atom, causing the pen to become electrically charged. This will then attract a small piece of paper which is held in readiness. The Hutchinson Dictionary of Science, ed. Peter Lafferty and Julian Rowe,
Yeah, do you
these are
don't
a
read
bunch
that? Yeah, yeah.
wrote a
Green
classic
takes issue.
examination.
These are footnotes. These are footnotes that I copied a bunch of footnotes here because they were all really good. Like they're making some good points. So Green takes issue with this view, which he considers to be a 19th and 20th century European myth. I don't know what that is. Referencing some of the gods never disappeared. Yeah, this is probably the one I was trying to quote. I was trying to look at. Some of the gods never disappeared. It is good to know that Eros at least was immortal. Or no. I guess it's not that one. We have Thales floating log and floating like a ship analogies. Anaximander had the sun like a chariot wheel with the thought the heaven would turn on the earth as a governor of heaven. Why did I put this here?
I don't know.
Maybe it was because there was like there was like references there that I wanted. There's like books there. There's like books that were named there that I wanted to look at, like with cool titles that I just wanted to look at.
Maybe.
Like it was like, oh yeah, yeah, that's why. Because it was like like sometimes in footnotes there's citations. You know what I mean? And there was a footnote like like he said something interesting, and then the footnote was a citation. So I wanted to copy it. I remember. That's why I did it. But yeah, if you want to find where I start from scratch, like we don't have to go over it now, but if you want to find how where I wanted to start from scratch again, you can control F for stages. Hmm. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see if you can find it. No, these are all notes. These are all notes. It's gonna be past this. No, no, no. Past this. Notes, notes, notes. Hmm. This was that's a finished paragraph and stuff. This is all like history, like philosophical theory of history stuff, and I was like connecting it with things that Mises was saying and fucking Hayek or whatever. I was connecting stuff there, but like that's not what I'm looking for. You're not gonna find it with stages apparently. So let me think. Uh, think. Uh, Maybe you can search value in quotation marks.
Ah, here we go.
No. Is that a no? No, that's not it. Fuck. Let me think. Uh, Search course of one's life.
No.
Search course. Over the course. No, it'll start with it. It'll start with it. It'll say something like over the course of one's life. Over the course of your life. Not no. No, not that. These are notes. These are notes. These are notes. There we go. Here we go. This is how I was thinking. Like, you see, I will begin with a programmatic overview. Da, da, da. This is how I was thinking. Like, I wanted to start it from scratch, but like, no, I don't want to start it like this. I wanted to start. I'm gonna instead. I'm gonna start with a concrete, very concrete, like sort of like story example kind of thing. I'm gonna start and like mix this all in there. That's how I'm gonna start now. But this is how I was like getting into it. I don't think I don't think that's right either. I don't think that's the right way to start it.
Hmm. What is media res?
Like in the middle of things.
Huh.
That's like it's like a in narrative. It's a narrative term of art. It's like it's common. Like if you search the Wikipedia article, it's common in like noir. You know,
What?
like noir, the genre where it's like I have a
I really
noir
know. I
like a
really
detective.
know.
It starts with a detective like investigating a crime. You know what I mean? It starts in the middle of things.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, you see that paragraph there is basically like the first paragraph of like kind of like gets you an idea of how I kind of want to start it, right? But like instead of like I kind of want to do this, but like way more concretely. And I tried. Like it's still like I tried to make it as concrete as possible, but I was like, no, no, no. I have to literally like do it way, way differently. Like Nathaniel, like I have to do it like Nathaniel Brandon does it. Like he starts
Hmm.
off with like a story or whatever, like a small like story example. And but like I can tie everything here that I'm saying here into that, like intertwine it. Like read this paragraph. I think this paragraph is really good. It's really good, bro. I fucking rewrote it and wrote it and wrote it and wrote it like a million fucking times. I'm just like, bro.
Reality confession with increasingly more complex challenges at each succeeding stage of their development. The range of knowledge. I definitely put something up.
Yeah, Control Z, yeah.
And decision making required of them at the age of 12 is greater than that required at the age of 6. The range required at 20 is greater than that required at 12. Required as in existentially what it takes for you to be or ever become a 12-year-old and what it takes for you to be or ever become a 20-year-old. In less distant terms, every day presents you with new opportunities to expand your knowledge and skills, to explore the world around you, and to gain greater proficiency in dealing with it, not just eventually. In the course of our existence, which unfolds through our actions. I'm guessing you don't want me to read this?
Huh?
It's crossed out.
Whatever, whatever. It's like this is all going in the fucking trash bin, basically. I fucking starting from scratch again.
Where events or outcomes can occur only through your active participation, the difference in outcomes is a difference in action. Where to move forward, if at all, requires not just any emotion, but some appropriate action of the on your part. As only through a process of growth does a tree bear fruit. It is, however, a process which, like any irreversible, indirected, or world involving process, may succeed or fail in its requirements. Its success is not guaranteed because it has requirements that it must meet, i.e., it must become that which can meet them. But for that, it must secure from its environment what it does not yet have. It has to draw in water, minerals, and sunlight, turn what it can into more biomass and structure, differentiation of tissues. So, in increasing amounts, then, and literally become more of something that it was before, it cannot just unfold from within or out of nothing. Fruit is not conjured, it is grown. Every value pertaining to life requires action or a measure of effort to be achieved, sustained, or enjoyed. I cannot succeed in even the most basic of goals by wishing it, but only by appropriate action. And this includes knowing and learning what I need to know in order to succeed in these goals. At any step of the way, the process of growth can be interrupted, frustrated, blocked, sidetracked, or fall short altogether. And just as one might get stuck at one level or another of cognitive or emotional immaturity, requirements for further development may thereby remain unfulfilled. But before we can say more about how it succeeds or fails in human life without equivocation, that is, in order to make that distinction, we must first name what is at stake when it does.
And then, like I say, we already have, in fact, our conceptual tool for understanding what is at stake here is the concept of value. And yeah, gonna have to edit.
Under conditions when it can be lost, such as any possibilities bound to the unfolding of one's life, which too would be lost without effort. As the saying attributed to Einstein goes, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Biologically, inactivity is death, life is motion. And because we live in a changing world in which we are no exception, not to move forward is to move backward. Insofar as my existence is finite, it is costly in the thermodynamic sense.
Insofar as any existence is finite, it is
That's what
costly
I
in the
think.
thermodynamic sense.
When one
Yeah.
ceases to grow, one proceeds to disintegrate. The result is not stasis, but decline. Life has the paradigmatic value. But even the simplest of facts are like this. You don't have to choose to lose strength. You only have to stop the actions by which strength is maintained. You don't have to choose illness. You only have to let the conditions of health lapse. You don't have to choose ignorance. You only have to stop doing what learning requires. You don't have to choose distance in a relationship. You only have to stop doing what closeness requires. Naturally, this applies to every aspect of our existence.
That's like I love that paragraph, right? Just like from,
That's pretty good, yeah. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
insofar, yeah, it's a pretty good paragraph, right? Just like
And I mean,
wow,
it gives
wow.
a
Yeah.
much more satisfactory, like, um,
Like this is
just
like one of those
meaning of life
paragraphs
than,
you would put
say,
at the
a
start
Randian
of
might
like
give.
yeah, yeah, like the Ran you would start like to start introducing what values are and like the start of ethics, you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those paragraphs, but it's like way better, right?
Mm.
Like like I don't know, bro. Like you want to read it again? Like I fucking love this paragraph, bro.
Yeah,
I
life
could.
is motion. And because we live in a changing world in which we are no exception, not to move forward is to move backward. Insofar as any existence is finite, it is costly in the thermodynamic sense. When one ceases to grow, one proceeds to disintegrate. The result is not stasis but decline. Life is the paradigmatic value, but even the simplest lived facts are like this. You don't have to choose to lose strength, you only have to stop the actions by which strength is maintained. You don't have to choose illness, you only have to let the conditions of health lapse. You don't have to choose ignorance, you only have to stop doing what learning requires. You don't have to choose distance in a relationship, you only have to stop doing what closeness requires. Naturally, this applies to every aspect of our existence.
Mhm. Wow, and it's like how I define it, like value. Like
It is
I don't really like this definition so much as
it
it's not
is
really a
an
definition. I'm just trying to just
incredibly, yeah.
the way the
It's a
way I
very
say
inductive
it
word.
names what, yeah, it's very inductive. Yeah, it names what must be pursued under conditions where it can be lost, such as any possibilities bound to the unfolding of one's life, which would also be lost without effort. That sentence, like that sentence grounds everything here, right? Values, the concept of value. It names what must be pursued under conditions where it can be lost, such as any possibilities bound to the unfolding of one's life, which too would be lost without effort. You
Hmm.
see what like that fucking do you understand what I'm saying there, right? Under conditions where it can be lost, such as any possibilities bound to the unfoldings of one's life, which too would be lost without effort.
Where it can be lost. Are you talking about the affinity of life?
Yeah, yeah, but I'm talking about like life is the standard of value, right? Values, like, and that's where I go in. Like, life is the paradigmatic value, right? But even the simplest lived facts are like this. So I'm talking about literally like about commensurability with life is the standard. You know what that means, right? It's any possibilities bound to the unfolding of one's life, which too would be lost without effort, right? So it's because life would be lost without effort, right? So that's why, and what's commensurate with that? We have life as a standard, right? What's commensurate with that is it's what must be pursued under conditions where it can be lost, such as any possibilities bound to the unfolding of one's life, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shortino talked about it as in like productivity and non-productivity. Um, but
And
not in like
then I put a
the
little note here. Then I put a little note here, like
yeah,
what I want to do here is actually expand and emphasize further. Like I'm talking to myself. Like bro, I want to really expand, and emphasize further this. Really hammer the point in.
hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to use AI to help me with that, and like I was trying to use ChatGPT, my prompting and stuff, right? And like if you scroll up, you can see all my notes there that I got from ChatGPT on that, like the highlights that I used there.
For context.
Is there some more finished paragraphs there? There might be some more. Yeah. No, no,
Oh my
up.
gosh.
You scrolled past them. I just wanted to see. You don't have to read them. I just want to see. Yeah,
Let's
all
see
this
here.
stuff.
Or for context, most of the below text I want to not say explicitly here, right? Oh, this looks like a prompt.
Yeah, it's a prompt. But like, I think it's like I just put all this together. Like, basically, I was putting all together like the essentials of what I was trying to say, right? So it's
Mm.
all here, right? And it's like that's basically where I'm at. That's basically where I'm at. And I just like I need to start from scratch, bro. I just need to really fucking just like you feel the inductive like strength there, right? I'm almost there, bro. It's so close.
It is, yeah, it is very inductive. It's you know, like only in halting what we're doing can we just fucking die. Like,
Yeah.
and
But
that's
the all that
interesting.
all that that's
Inactivity is
like I
death
was it
because,
mhm.
you know, I mean, hmm, I don't know.
I just wanted
I
to say that those points like how like uh you know distance or whatever the like what did it say, you don't have to choose distance in a relationship, you only have to stop doing what closeness requires. Like all these things, or like you don't have to do this, you only have to stop doing this, or you don't have to choose this, you only have to stop doing this, or what this requires, right?
Yeah. I feel
All
like
of
I
that,
liked what
like that
Stratino
whole
said
line
about
there,
it though.
that whole line, all those lines there were from Nathaniel Branden. Like I got that, like this whole thing from Nathaniel Branden there. I thought it was just like,
Nice.
wow, like, like
Nice.
that really like I don't know, like I feel like I could just like make a much better inductive like grounding of like an understanding of values that's ever given before, really. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
in the objectivist literature, you know what I mean? On ethics.
Yeah.
And you see it, you see just like you never seen that anywhere really before, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I like what Shortino says about like death not really being like a valid concept, and it's more of
Right.
like
Well, he got that from
dissipation.
me. He got that from me.
Like
He got all that
I
from me.
like the thing of dissipation better.
But yeah, yeah, but that's in a different context, right? It's not something that you, it's in the context of life as a whole, right?
Biologically,
No, it's
because you said
dissipation, right?
biologically there. Yeah,
Where? What are
you
you
said
talking about?
biologically inactivity is death.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, yeah. But yeah, I get it.
No, that's a this is from fucking this line is from fucking what's it called? It's from the virtue of selfishness. That's right.
Ah,
It's from the virtue of selfishness. This line. It's from one of Nathaniel Branden's essays in that the virtue of selfishness. But like it was sort of this line, like he was saying this, like, but yeah. It's just it's a turn of phrase, right? I'm not being like talking about death is like an invalid concept. You know what I mean? Just like
mm.
biologically inactivity is death. It's a very like succinct, you know, economical statement, right? Just like remember, we're still just we don't have to be precise, right? We're not saying like yeah, I mean it's just saying biologically inactivity is death. You have a dead like it's not alive, you know, if it's not active, you know what I mean? It's not a living thing.
I'm curious if there's some integration with this and like the no ought nots thing. It's like you don't have
Yes,
to
right. But it's just
choose
it's
the
like,
bad. You don't have to
bro,
choose the bad.
yes, that's the point. Yes, that's the point.
Like just not going after the good is just gonna be bad.
Yeah, it's
You
going to
have to
be
choose the
bad, bro.
bad.
You got to be a valuer, bro. You got to value things. That's what living fucking requires, bro. Shit. That's what Ayn Rand was talking about, bro. She just couldn't fucking say it right, bro.
And now we got all these guys running around being like, "Oh, dude, but you have to kill the guy. You gotta steal the penny.
Bro, I can't
You
even
gotta."
fucking like rule out that a fucking Roomba is like
Dude, we gotta do that fucking live stream. It would be so golden, bro. Dude, there's so many fucking like golden moments in that fucking thing. It's so
But yeah, you can see the direction I'm going here, you know? You can see it, man. Like you can see how it's gonna integrate so fucking perfectly into the fucking everything. Like I was trying to put together the positivism and then the, you know, like the questioning approach, right? And like the social metaphysics stuff and like all of that, right? Everything that we are talking about, right? It'll lead perfectly into that, right? I can definitely make it lead perfectly into that, right? Just like just like valuing, you know, like gotta live, you gotta be a valuer, you gotta know things, man. That's what this is about. The book is about you, you know. and it's really like we're gonna learn all these principles about fucking life and
I mean,
uh
yeah, if you
like
want a
stuff
recommendation
and
for a direction, like it, I would say make it more personal. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but we're learning all these principles about life and perception and measurement and and it's like when you look back at it, it's like, whoa, this is all really just about this book is about me. Like I'm a thing that's living
Yeah.
and I'm perceiving and acting in a world full of things, you know. So I thought
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
great,
because
right?
that's,
I thought it's
I
great.
mean, that's
Uh,
another thing that we could say characterize philosophy as. It's about you.
oh man, no, but like this is the key point. This is the key point. Oh man, I forget. What can you control F to find this? Because I put a bunch of notes like together, like clumped together about this one specific point that's so fucking good, bro. Ah, bro. It was like one single word I remember. Like I can control Fing to just put stuff there. Let me try and think. It's so good, bro. It's such a good point. Uh, like do science. Maybe you control F for do science. That's definitely not the word I was control F.
What is this course good for?
No. Do philosophy. Maybe do philosophy. No, fuck. Shit. Uh,
You don't remember what it
hmm.
was about?
Bro, I know exactly what it was about.
What was it about?
It was about like fucking, science that accounts for like like things that can fucking do science, you know? It was like I was getting it from Gare. Like he said it so perfectly. Like fucking man, we should be like it's crazy that fucking science can't account for things that could do science. No, you're not gonna find it here. Hmm, trying to think of specific term, man. Um, maybe if you search Gare, hmm, you might be able to find it if you search Gare, because I might have said something about Gare around it. Gare. Oh, wait, back up to that.
What?
Go back. Yeah, that we can account for the entirety of that which we observe to by reference to one reality. Yeah. Yeah. It's wrong, of course, but the impotence of Thales is the question and the category of the answer, not the specific answer. He was the one who established the. This is from Peikoff. I remember this is a quote from Peikoff. He was the one who established the idea of a naturalistic approach to the world rather than a supernaturalistic. So even Peikoff is talking about this, right? Supernaturalistic one who dispense with the supernatural with gods as explanatory principles, who introduced the idea that there are natural laws which explain the nature of things and that we can account for the entirety of that which we observe by reference to one reality. It was the view for which Aristotle acknowledged Thales as the founder of natural philosophy. That's a Peikoff quote.
So that's what you were trying to show me?
No, I was just I
Ah.
like uh keep going down. There's another one here. Uh, I think like another like no. If you go up to 5, there's another one. It's like the same one. I think it was also a Peikoff quote. Like he said the same thing, but like differently.
Hmm.
So I quoted him again here. I mean, I copy and pasted it again.
Now, of course, there's no warrant for the view that there's only one such stuff, but the approach that he is attempting here was an incalculable importance. It is the approach which, to this day, is the essence of the scientific approach, the attempt to find unity amid diversity, to find common denominators to enable us to integrate a whole wealth of disparate observations. That attempt was inaugurated by Thales, and what he was looking for, if we use the Greek terminology, was the one in the many, the one in the many. That's clear, right? What? Was
This is
the
a
one
like
in the
it's
many.
transcript. It's a transcript from his lecture.
Ah, I write that down if you're taking notes because that's very important. Now, he's wrong, of course, but the importance of Thales is the question in the category of answer, not the specific answer. He was the one who established the idea of a naturalistic approach to the world rather than a supernaturalistic one, who expressed the supernatural with God's explanatory principles, who introduced the idea that there are natural laws in the nature of things governing what takes place, and that we can account for the entire phenomenon that we observe by reference to one logical reality.
Yeah. But that wasn't the fucking point I was trying to point out to. Fuck. I remember exactly what it was about. It was about, science accounting for things that can do science and philosophy. But I don't think it said account.
Maybe detect?
No, like it didn't even fucking say it at all the way I just said it. You know?
Oh, I mean, it had science in it, right?
Yeah. But you're gonna
So much
fucking
science.
like I said, you can search Gare. Gare, and maybe I wrote something about Gare from there. No, not there. No. Keep going. What are you doing, bro?
I don't know, I'm just reading.
Can you find it, bro?
Care 2013.
No, no, no. It would have been something I just like I said around it, like go down. Like I don't know, you just skipped like uh Mm. Trying to think, man. It won't be there. It'll be above that. It'll be somewhere above that. Way above that.
Mirage
Um
artists. This. This.
I'm just trying to think, bro. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea, bro. Fuck. It's so fucking good, bro. It's so good. Shit. Um Living things. Maybe search living things.
Maybe this.
Oh. No, but that's another finished paragraph on like values. That's a good one. Not like you don't have to read it, but like uh you can either pursue them or not. A value that is not pursued is not unreal, right? I like how I put that in that paragraph there.
Maybe
But no,
this is it.
no. But yeah, it might be you might be able to find it by searching like how primitive physics still is. I think I also copied and pasted that quote from Einstein around there. No, this is a quote from Turvey where he's basically talking about uh like Rosen's thing there. Um yeah, this is from Turvey. What are you doing, bro?
What?
I said go back up to the fucking Einstein quote, bro. It was highlighted. See, no, you passed that. There it is. There it is. That's the Einstein quote. Yeah. So, like, you can search primitive because I think I also copied and pasted this that same Einstein quote.
Nah.
Hmm.
Maybe you
Like
got
these are
rid of
all
it.
quotes. These are all quotes from Rosen. No, I definitely didn't get rid of it. I definitely didn't. It's definitely in there somewhere. It's definitely in there. No, what are you doing? It's definitely in there somewhere, bro. And it's like I put a whole cluster of like stuff like right around it, like about the uh beings. Maybe search beings. Oh man, I like this one too. Why doesn't life make more sense? Why me, God? I like that paragraph there that you just went over.
Ah,
That's a Nathaniel Brennan paragraph.
damn.
The problem when we do not live consciously, we often fail to appreciate how much of our suffering is attributable to that fact. We do not see the connection between our avoidance of uh, awareness. Like I can't.
Awareness and the emptiness of our marriage and the unhappiness of our children, the disappointments in our career, our identities in the face of change and growth, chronic boredom and fatigue, the unresolved conflicts that tear us apart, or our impoverished self esteem. Our thinking never gets deeper than there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with the world, or why doesn't life make more sense, or why me, God? And too often, our response to frustration and pain is to shrink our consciousness still further, to make life bearable. We imagine as we sink deeper and deeper into the void of the unreached and unfulfilled.
I
Darn.
really like that quote. But yeah, like I said, you can search beings. Oh, there it is. This is it. Yes, endophysics. You could have searched endophysics. That's the term.
Endophysics.
Boom. Here we go. You see it.
You're striving to comprehend, as proponents of endophysics have argued, that by have been reconciled accordingly.
Right. So we have reached oh man, why are you fucking go back up, bro? Come on. I was reading it. Right. So we have reached the peculiar situation where the advance of mainstream science has required us to dismiss as unreal our own existence as free creative agents, the very condition of there being science at all. These are quotes from Gare, by the way. I
Based.
love Gary to work on this. Yeah, super based. We now have to recognize that science and scientists are within and part of the world we are striving to comprehend, as proponents of endophysics have argued, and that physics, biology, and mathematics have to be reconceived accordingly. Yes. right? The deep
Did you
assumptions
say
of
Guy was a neo-Marxist? This is crazy.
he's super based on this stuff. Raises anew the question: what is science? When it comes to radically new approaches in science, there's no simple answer to this question because if successful, these new approaches change what is understood to be science. This is what Galileo, Darwin, and Einstein did to science, and with quantum theory, opposing interpretations are not merely about what theory is right,
Right, but
but
what
what
is
is
science?
real science? Pierce's work, as he acknowledged, is really a continuation of efforts of Schelling and to mature, to challenge the heritage of Newtonian science for the very good reason that the deep assumptions of Newtonian science had made sentient life, human consciousness, and free will unintelligible, the condition for there being science. Pointing out the need for such a revolution in science has not succeeded as a defense of Peircean biosemiotics. However, in this paper, I will defend the scientific credentials of Peircean, by relating it to the development of the I'll be relating it to the theoretical biology of biomathematician Robert Rosen. Rosen's relational biology, focusing on giving the right. But this paper was really good. Like it made really good points in there, like that. You know. Rosen had a very strong case for the characterization of his ideas as a real advance not only in science but in how science should be understood. Efforts to free science from this dead end, and to from this dead end and to give a place to creative becoming in the world have been hampered by unexamined assumptions about what science should be. Assumptions which presuppose that if creative becoming is explained, it will be explained away as an illusion, which is talking about just second law irreversibility, right? So we have to recognize that science and scientists are within a part of the world we're striving to comprehend. Yeah, we already read that one. Rosen embraced Rossler's endophysics, which sought not only to defend but reveal the implications of accepting that we are part of the world we are striving to know. Yeah, and this is all a bunch of these here, permeate the whole European civilization from the only assumption between cosmology, which aims at the grasping the universe through mathematics, and history is comprehending human action through stories by going back to the ancient Greeks and tracing the evolution, coming and trace layers of assumptions that must in some way be transcended if we are to develop a truly post-Egyptian science consistent with the forms of understanding and explanation that have evolved within history. The next paragraph, there's a highlight there, so it's important. Yeah. To develop mathematics adequate to life. Pierce's work about semiotics should be seen as advancing this whole project to conceive nature in such a way that knowledge of it is possible. To conceive nature in such a way that knowledge of it is possible, and that there are beings within nature able to achieve this knowledge. The evolution of life, and then self-conscious life forms capable of developing literature, philosophy, and science should then be able to be comprehended so that life through us can be seen as advancing by comprehending itself and its place in a self-organizing creative universe.
Wow.
I love that last fucking yeah. Fucking the evolution of life and then self-conscious life forms capable of developing literature, philosophy, and science should then be able to comprehend to be comprehended so that life through us can be seen as advancing by comprehending itself and its place in a self-organizing creative universe. And that's really like where I got the whole thing about like this, you are what this book is about, right? And we're learning all these principles about perception and life and like science and all of this stuff, It's really like, I mean, it's just your life, what like you're very
Life
familiar with all of
matters.
this stuff. You're really familiar with all of this stuff, really,
Mhm.
We just got to make it explicit. We have to
No, I
get
feel you.
a universal like universalized conception of nature. We have to understand the notion of nature as a universalized principle or unifying principle, right? In order to exclude the supernatural, exclude the arbitrary, exclude all of that stuff, and actually take seriously, like, how objectivists talk about, like Aristotle was taking seriously, like, a philosophy of life on this earth, right?
Damn.
Right, and that's what I really see this all about. So you see, this whole thing is all about, right?
Definitely,
And I
I
what
definitely
I
like
really
this
want to make
approach.
clear. Yeah, yeah.
I like this approach.
Yeah, like this conception of nature should be able to should enable us to participate more effectively in not only comprehending but also creating the future. But just like
Mm.
not only comprehending nature, I would just like to say it should help us to enable and participate more effectively in comprehending nature. Like just like this conception of nature as being is knowable because and there's all these things that know things about nature in nature, right? Just like boom, that opens up a whole new fucking area of just science and like questions to be asked, like, and that's what the ecological approach is doing. Right, taking the Thales questioning approach, right, to things, right, to think to the facts of psychology, right, instead of appealing to fucking magic, right, or treating it as illusory, right.
Also, this is what you said earlier.
But you
Farther
see how it all
that
connects.
like
Hit out. You see how it all connects. You see how it all connects, and it's gonna be perfect to the start of like the whole thing, like how like the ecological approach and everything is all it's all gonna come together.
oh my god. Where's my freaking
But yeah, I guess this can this with this whole recording, I guess, can serve as like a. I mean, you have my whole notes and everything, so you can even look more through this on your own, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
like this recording here can serve as sort of like a fucking like I don't know, like hyping it up. I don't know, people to get excited about fucking what I'm trying to do. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Because I wanted whatever I was gonna do to be unique in a way that because like I kind of also felt this way. I was like, man, like philosophy, like there's so many different like reasons somebody might want to learn a lot about philosophy, especially in
right.
today's world where it's not really like
Oh yeah,
encouraged.
there's more
And
reasons today than ever
yeah,
before.
and yeah,
Nathaniel
I think it's
Branden
really
talks about
good
this.
to like break down this whole barrier that society has created between philosophy and science. It's like
And philosophy and
we
life,
yeah. I mean,
just
it is.
life
It's
and the world.
philosophy.
You know,
Like, not only is philosophy completely segmented from all of the other sciences, but it's also just like philosophy seems to just have this God's eye view every fucking time. And it's just like, that's not how it works. It's not how it works.
right?
It's about, like, it's not about, you know, the abstract, God's eye view. And it's not even just about the self in some pretentious way. It's about whose self. It's about, like,
Well,
your
it like
self.
the Gare put it so perfectly. Remember that initial Gare quote, about like a foundational like for like an integrated view of the world and our place in it, right? And like
Mm.
appreciating the meaning of our lives, right? And living accordingly, right? I love the way he put that.
Like, it's like a principle that applies to all of our lives, but does not, you know, strictly tell us in like some deontological
Well,
sense
and
that
then there's that other quote that I loved, right? There's that other quote that around there. It was like, philosophy must penetrate everything, right?
mm,
Because you need philosophy to live. I
yeah.
think that's like I think that was like basically what the quote was, right? something like that. Philosophy must enter into life. I remember it started with that. Philosophy must enter into life. Philosophy penetrates anything, everything, because you need philosophy to live. It was something like that. It's in the VOD. It's in the recording. But yeah, I'm glad that we could end it on a high note.
That was also another disappointing thing about when I went to college, because it was just like, oh yeah, philosophy degree, you can't fucking do anything with that shit, bro. It's fucking gutter trash, fucking shit tier, fucking
It's just
degree. You can't fucking
crazy.
do
It's just
anything with it.
insane. You know, and it's really just like bro, statism. It's the statism, bro. They're fucking trying to beat us down into the
Exactly.
fucking dirt, bro, and like
Trying to
not use our
philosophically
minds. It was
disempower
fucking it
us.
was Kant, bro. You know, it was like trying to destroy our mind, bro. You know, so like it's just
Philosophically
like
disempower
you
us.
don't have to care about all of the Kantian bromides and whatever. You don't have to think about them, right? You don't even have to like. It's just like whenever like Rand says this. Rand says this in Philosophy Who Needs It. I fucking love this fucking quote. Like the what Rand says here. You know how like it doesn't matter like if you fucking like can forget what she says. You know exactly, but like she says something about like whenever you really need like the courage to have like you need to have the courage, right? And you need to like really use your mind when the time comes when you really need to like put all the effort into like knowing something, you know, like and really have the courage to do
Mm-hmm.
it, right? That's when fucking Kant is just gonna pop up and say you can't know anything, you know, you can't be certain about anything, you can't this and that, you know. And
Yeah,
that's why
and
you
in the
need
face of
philosophy.
Kant, yeah, in the face of Kant, you have to be like, no, you're fucking wrong.
Right, and you need the philosophy is like the immunizer. It's like the immune system, you know,
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like
mind.
you want to go out there and have some fucking amazing job, and then fucking Ellsworth Toohey comes out of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh no, you have to fucking give up your all your values. You have to fucking be a depressed fucking loser."
Yeah, bro, and just like and then in the same quote, like Rand says, like, but you know, once you understand Kant's philosophy, right? Once you understand what's behind his principles, right? What he's
Mhm.
saying, right? Then it's like philosophy is like it's shining a light on, you know, it's like it becomes like a Halloween mask in bright light. It can no longer scare you. It can no longer hurt you, you know?
I mean, that's what I think a psychoanalysis should be. 'Cause I think psychoanalysis is often just reduced to like ticks or like tendencies that people have, and it's like, well, that's not really getting down to like
Beginning.
the brass tacks of it.
By
It's
the way,
like,
the quote I'm referring to is from Philosophy Who Needs It. So you can you know, control F and Philosophy Who Needs It for this quote on Kant, what she says there. And you can search like Halloween mask. That was in the but
yeah,
yeah, so yeah. You were saying
very.
something. Sorry, I cut you off.
Um, I think I was just saying, like, psychoanalysis often is focused on like these like physical tics or like these like random behaviors that people seem to have sometimes, but like, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
really, when you're psychoanalyzing people, you should be looking at their philosophy. It should be about philosophical
oh
detection.
yeah, of course, of course, of course, of course. Yeah, and like Nathaniel Brandon goes really, really deep into this. Like I mean, he hates like the fucking psychoanalysis, like views, right? He hates them. I mean, he despises them, right?
Oh, we're gonna get this lie detector, and it's gonna fucking go off if your heart rate increases after we
Like,
put you
no,
in
this
this fucking
motherfucker has low
scenario.
self-esteem. You know, he's like, this motherfucker has low self-esteem, bro. He's like self-esteem, bro. It's the fucking root of everything, man. It's everything. It's all self-esteem. Don't you get it? Yeah, that's like basically what he says.
Yeah.
Just look, man. It all leads, fucking all roads trace back to fucking self-esteem, man. It's all. Just look, man. Look at it. Self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm glad we can end on like a high note, bro. It was like it was kind of like, you know, like I don't know. It was like winding down there at the end when we were talking about dispositional stuff, you know, and we were like going over
Yeah, it
Turby's
was
lectures,
long.
right? But I think like we ended on a high note, you know, talking about all this stuff.
Definitely gave me a new perspective on how to teach. Definitely a good approach to
Yeah.
teach. It's like take each individual person into account and try to like it feels like you're trying to like hit a commensurability point of everyone's life. Right? It's like there's a commensurability here between everyone's life and we're gonna hone in on that.
Well, it's like just even more than that, bro. Even more than that. Commensurability, just like the world, right? And it's just like
Yeah.
I sum it up in a single principle. Like I literally sum I there's a sentence there somewhere if you can fucking find it, you know, where it's like if it's something like if I could sum up or if I can something like that. If I can sum it up in like a single fucking sentence, like my whole fucking goal with this like book, right? I put that somewhere there, right? I give like a single sentence, right? And it's
Let me
basically
quote
along the
from a
lines
single
of
statement. It would be this:
yes.
to defend and to draw out the implications of accepting that we are part of the world we are striving to know. Its real motivation and force, however, lie in how this task will be carried out, which we will be discussing shortly.
Right. Which is the whole, you know, the questioning approach, like your questions, like all that stuff, you know.
Hmm.
Focusing on questions. Like Bunge really talked about this. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, really, really
Yeah,
good.
you see I like that's a like I like that as a single statement of like literally just like what everything I'm like it all culminates. I mean it's just that really economizes like everything, right? Like in one economical statement I think it's really perfect, right? That we are part of the world we are striving to know, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, yeah, so many of these, like, nasty assumptions come from removing us from the world. Like,
Exactly. Yes. Where they treat objectivity as the exclusion of the observer, right? Rather than the inclusion of the observer. In the world, in the same world as the observed, is no less real than that which is to be observed, you know?
yeah. Why am I getting pinged?
That's the commensurability point, really.
Right.
What kind of science, man?
What kind of science?
What what kind of science? What kind of
What
science,
kind of
man?
science?
What kind of science? I can't do the Australian or what, the fucking British Liverpool accent. Like he's from fucking British. Like I mean Britain. He's from Liverpool, I think.
What kind of science?
What kind of science? What kind of science? You know what
What
kind of science?
kind?
Like he fucking said it so like what kind? What kind of science? What kind of science? Again, what kind of science? What kind of science? But yeah, it's in that paper. In that paper that we were talking about, like this, like titled the same as that lecture.
Mm,
I guess the lecture isn't titled "What kind of science," but he keeps saying "What kind of science," right?
yeah.
But there's a paper, the 2013 paper called "Ecological Perspective on Perception Action." What kind of science does it entail? And in that paper, he talks all about the incommensurabilities, right? The fucking the Cartesian dualism, the Kantian like cut, the Parmenion cut that Swenson talks about, right? The postulates of incommensurability, right?
Mm.
And then like the incommensurabilities between postulates of incommensurability between physics and biology and psychology, and the whole paper is like a recurring theme, like in the paper, just like what kind of science, right? A recurring theme he keeps coming back to is like toward commensurability, like returning to commensurability, like in multiple of the sections of the papers are titled that, like something along those lines.
Also, I gotta ask, how'd you get so good at punctuation? I don't know how to do that.
Huh?
How do you get so good at punctuation? Like,
Oh
keeping
man, I
punctuation
fucking just
polite.
copying, just copying what others are doing, right? Just reading. I'm reading all these academic people. I'm just copying what they're doing, and also like I'm just trying to fit as much like you see, like I go overboard with the punctuations and the m dashes and all that stuff because I'm trying to fit is so much of fucking shit as much as possible in like single like minute, a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and it's like I'll have to fucking I'll have to revise it over and over and over again to get it right.
I mean, it's a
But yeah,
lot of
man,
information,
what kind of science? What kind of science?
I don't know, man. I'm just a Kantian. I can't know any science.
What kind of science? Come on, pull up the video, bro, so we can edit with Terry saying what kind of science.
I can't think of anything.
Just search it up, bro, on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
Thermodynamic. Oh no, no. What am I saying? Uh, uh, theory of perception action for all organisms. Wow. What kind of science? Come on, bro. Come on. It's so perfect. Oh, you're not playing the audio.
Oh, hang on.
I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
Yeah. Bro, where's like the cleanest one that he does? Oh, why did it go all the way back to
Yo,
there?
it's so quiet, by the way.
Let's go.
That's the one. That's the one,
That is the one. What kind of
bro.
science?
We need to make a soundboard of this. What kind of
Hell yeah.
science? We need to make a soundboard of that and fucking put it in the VC. You know?
Dude, I thought we were getting the next level already. We're at 7 boosts of the
Yeah,
server.
I don't even know how to add soundboard things, right? But if anybody's watching knows how to fucking do that, if anybody's watching knows how to do that, get that. What kind of science? I think it's right there where he talks about the relationship, right, between like uh information and energy, right? The information that is detected and the energy that is controlled, right? How is the information that is detected related to the energy that is controlled? Right where he talks there, right where he talks about that there. Like he says it so perfectly. What kind of
What
science?
kind of science?
Like he does that multiple times just to transition. But it's like such a perfect transition, you know?
It really is, yeah.
What kind of science? Now we're gonna answer. We're gonna answer it again. You know, we're gonna answer it even more. What kind of science? Well, here's another a bit of the answer.
All right. I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Let's end it there.